Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our continuing Ahsoka post-show spoiler talk coverage. And tonight was the big one, Episode 5, Part 5, The Shadow Warrior. What does that title even mean? What's going on?
She's a warrior now.
Here to fill us in, we have Josh and Retro Ray. Explain to us what we just saw. Josh.
I mean, it's a very mystical way of training, and I think they basically just showed it through different stages and kind of flashbacks in the world between worlds. So, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know how much of it really has anything to do with the rest of the Star Wars universe, because like I was kind of sitting there like, yeah, this is a for the fans episode. I don't know if this is like anything else besides, look, it's young Ahsoka. Remember the clothes that she used to wear? I'm like, well.
So yeah, we got a lot of stuff that I think the fans have been asking to see. We obviously got a somewhat of a Clone Wars flashback.
Yep.
We got Anakin in his Clone Wars armor. We got Anakin holding a red saber finally, without having to be in the suit. You got little glimpses of Vader here and there. Um, a lot of interesting fan moments, like you say, Josh. But and then some of the theories that we talked about with the Purgle, riding the Purgle out into super hyperspace or whatever you want to call it, to the next realm galaxy. But yeah, we got a lot of people in chat right now, and I just want to say before we get started, we want to thank all of our awesome patrons. Before we get this underway here, we got a lot of comments in the chat. On the purple tier, we have Darth Ace 1, Liam McCallion, Texas Vader 76, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Deb McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel. On the red tier, we have Fenrir 526, Maya Morris. On the black tier, we have Maka Tautala, Nathan Shank, Evan Opaker. Thank you so much for the awesome support as everyone rolls into the chat here. A lot of thoughts, a lot of cool imagery. Craig from Orlando joined us on the pre-show right as he was exiting, and he gave the episode a 9 out of 10. And then he kind of asked people as they were walking by what they thought. We heard some people say 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, a million out of 10. I think obviously the people that gave it the higher scores were big time Rebels fans, Clone Wars fans. We got to see so many different things. I think we got answers without them explaining it in too much detail. So Ray, what did you think of the episode? I know you texted me OMG.
Well, pretty much what we talked about the last time, where I said that she was kind of dead, but she wasn't dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In between surviving.
Beautiful call.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, like see Anakin from the different phases, as the training was going, I guess you can say, was cool. I mean, yes, we didn't see Rex's face, but we got Rex. You know what I mean?
It did make me laugh. I was like, all right, you're going to cover it up. Whatever.
But I mean, seeing young Ahsoka, and I don't know the actress's name off the top of my head, but she's freaking played in Barbie, Avengers, Endgame. I mean,
Yeah, she was young Gamora, right?
Yeah. So she's gotten some iconic roles, man. That's all I can say for, from the universe, from the Marvel to, Star Wars now. But everything was just, like I said, I'm gonna watch it again. It's just so much that we're seeing. I wanted to see Obi-Wan or hear voices, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was just cool seeing the flashback, kind of like seeing Vader and Anakin. And then kind of towards the end, remember I told you the red eyes, you can kind of see his eyes were red towards the end when she had a chance to kill him. It's just so much, you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, this was
It
for the
reminded
fans.
me a lot of the Luke Vader.
Yeah.
Where Luke's just like, nope, I'm not going to do this. Where she's like, nope, I choose to live. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So I think, yeah, that's another it rhymes moment. So I was like, yes, understandable.
I think Jason's going to be a big part in the upcoming either movie, because they kind of hint the whole oh, you make the lightsabers? Oh, can you teach me? No, it's kind of hinting, he has force. And then the whole Anakin mentioning, about being a teacher, telling her you don't want a Padawan, and they're joking back. And he was telling her, is it a joke to you? Or, I don't know. I have a feeling that she's going to take Jason on. And we'll see it later.
I did get those vibes too. It's like, well, I mean, you have Sabine there, but I mean, Jason's right there, man. The dude is like so in tune with the Force.
Yeah.
He heard the lightsabers clashing amongst the waves of Cetos. It's like the dude is like ready to be trained.
Yeah.
And he is younger, so I mean, he is not. I don't think he's too old to begin his training, but it's like, come on, Ahsoka, take on another Padawan.
Anakin mentioned in there, you're never too old to
yeah, which is true, which is a very true life lesson there. You're never too old to learn. Yes, yeah. I totally agree.
What would you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
To me, it feels like a movie. I'm going to have to see it multiple times
to
give it a proper rating. But right now, man, I got to see it again, man. Because there were so many thoughts and ideas going through my head, and I was trying to read the captions to make sure I didn't miss anything, watch the action. Man,
I give it a 10. I mean, just from the little things, I guess it was just me taking in the Clone War battles, the beginning of their first battle, and then seeing the Battle of Mandalore.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
the Siege of Mandalore cool. with the Mandalorians. Yeah. That was awesome. I mean, and then Anakin was like, I don't remember this fight.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then the helmets. Did you see the helmets of the Mandalorian? The horns and everything?
Yeah, the Mandalorian. Yeah. So Jorge Hernandez Gonzalez on YouTube says, was it all a dream? I don't think it was. I think she was in the world between worlds. She died. She came back once again as Ahsoka the White, just like Gandalf the White. That whole kind of thing that Filoni is very, very attached to, because we've shown the pictures, that the sketches that he did of Gandalf standing next to Ahsoka, and we got Ahsoka the White already in animation, and then fans got mad we didn't get her again with the staff. They he changed up the ending there of Rebels, but in live action, and now we got Ahsoka the White. She's wearing white gloves, white gauntlets, a white poncho, a white robe, so to speak. We got Ahsoka the White, so that came to pass. So I don't think it was a dream. She was in the world between worlds. The Force, it's almost like she's another chosen one in a way. The Force tested her and kind of chose her. No one pulled her through. Her consciousness ended up in the world between worlds. And I think Anakin was more of a manifestation of the Force, and it was the Force testing her and using something similar, something she was familiar with, to achieve that and see if she was worthy in a way to come back to the living.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got from it. I don't know. Did anyone else get anything different from all that? I'm not sure.
That's pretty accurate.
So this Facebook user says she could take Jason if Sabine falls to the dark side, or worse. Yeah. That would be a shame if Sabine fell to the dark side. But yeah, Jason's right there, man. I mean,
okay,
it's sports comparison here. It's like, what's a good sports comparison? You got Bledsoe out there, but you got Brady on the bench, right? Right, Ray?
Yeah. Well, okay. This is just me taking in just what I saw. So do you remember hearing when Hera says you're too young to travel between galaxies? So
I think that was more of like a parental thing. I don't think that was.
Well, this is what I'm thinking, because you mentioned it before.
Right.
What if, Ahsoka goes over there into that part of the galaxy and starts the Jedi training over there? What if she takes Jason as he gets older with her?
That'd be cool.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's the universal hope I think we all have. I think Jason now, he had a bigger role in this episode. We hope that he becomes something, he carries on the legacy of Kanan, and maybe he gets Shin Hati saber, reclaims Kanan Jarrus his dad's old saber there, and modifies it back.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
definitely
D
see that.
part on YouTube says first live action phase 1 armor, right? Yes. I think that's first live action phase 1 armor, and I think that's first live action phase 2 armor, if I'm correct.
It's a phase 1 from what we saw at the
Yeah,
beginning.
non CGI phase 1 armor. Yes, I
It was
believe
awesome.
Yeah.
Loved that. I was like,
Yeah.
let's go. People flipping
Yeah.
around, complete proper action scene. Very
Yeah.
dusty.
Yeah.
Very, very Blade Runner 2049, I thought. So we have Ed Palmer here on YouTube says she chose herself. Yeah, she chose to live. Yeah, I thought that was very, very telling. I to me it's like the Force is the past, the present, the future, and it's all happening simultaneously in the world between worlds. And I mean, the Force knows the right thing to do in a way, in a certain way to speak there. And
But you know
I
what though? It kind of shows us we see things differently because we saw Clone Wars, but we only saw certain parts in the cartoon series.
right.
Here we see Ahsoka, with the troops and seeing all the lives that were lost and her emotions of like taking it in, and then Anakin kind of telling her, you know, I'm training you to be a leader. So kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we're really, really concentrating on Ahsoka's humanity here,
Yeah.
and indirectly or directly, I mean, the matters how you look at it, but we're really addressing war
Yeah.
and the loss and the fog of war, literally and figuratively. War is a horrible thing. I know we kind of almost celebrated in a way with Star Wars, but I mean, war is a horrible thing. Tremendous loss of life needlessly. Um,
That's
and
probably like my favorite conversation that they have in it, where it's like, during my time when I was trained, I was a peacekeeper, but you have to train you as like a complete soldier. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at certain generations, all they knew was war. They were born into war and they died in the war, and that's all they knew of life. And that's a very tragic part of reality.
Yeah. It popped me when seeing Ahsoka sitting next to that one trooper. It kind of took me back to Bad Batch.
Yeah,
That feeling when the soldier grabs her hand, like he's dying, and he reaches out for her. That kind of like was a little emotional there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very, very much so. And the face was covered.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see Pam.
All right,
Conveniently.
I'll give you a pass on this one, buddy.
Yeah, so Sage West on YouTube says, I don't think we will see Ezra until the last or second to last episode. That's what I think we all originally kind of predicted. And if you look at if you read the tea leaves, look at all the social media posts, that actor, he really hasn't posted much. And he's not in the marketing, of course, except for that hollow image of him. And I don't know. We will see. Now we essentially lose Hera and Jason and Chopper for the most part. It's just Hu Yang and Ahsoka here on out inside of the Purgle mouth. D part says Kenobi had phase 2 when they flash back to storming the temple. Okay. Mob rules. We haven't heard for a long time. Live action Captain Rex for 10 seconds. A win is a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool to see Rex kind of off in the distance there. And he turned his head. I was like, oh, that's Rex right there. And I was like, oh, we're getting Tamir Morrison. But we got his voice. We didn't get his actual face. But yeah, it's like Mob Rule said, a win is a win. I think we got a lot of stuff in this episode where, I mean, yeah, you can take it as like fan service, but I mean, it did play into the story overall. But of course, there was tremendous hype for this episode.
Yeah.
And nothing short of everything that we talked about as far as what we like the Mustafar set. I mean, how is that going to play into it? And I think earlier today, there was also a rumor that they cut it. It was shot, but they cut it. So we didn't get to see any Mustafar stuff, but we got a lot of Anakin in between.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, becoming actual mechanical Vader and being with Ahsoka at the Siege of Mandalore, getting to see the armor, getting to see just Hayden being Anakin again. That's a tremendous thing. If they did any deep fake or CGI stuff, it looked pretty good to me. Did you guys see any type of like weird like smoothing of wrinkles or anything? I didn't detect any. Did you guys? I saw it on
No,
a 2K screen.
no, I mean it kind of looked cool because I mean even David went down detail to the hair from each of the like kind of like from the cartoon series, Anakin, they kind of somewhat kept it close, and even Revenge of the Sith kind of keeping the same hairstyle.
Yeah, yeah, they did a very good job. If it was wigs, I mean, they did a pretty good job. It looked legit, like his legit hair. If he grew it out, I mean, that would be awesome too. And then just figured out the shooting schedule. Like we have to cut it this way, and then we have to cut it shorter this way. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
So this Facebook user says Ahsoka is now Jonah and the Well. I immediately thought of Jonah and the Well. I mean, I grew up in the church, so that's one of the first things I thought of. And did you guys notice the headband that she came out with has an actual cross on the front? I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looked
We got to
different.
see her without the headpiece. I was
Yes,
like, what the heck
yes.
is that?
Yeah, we got to see the blending of the skin and the Leku, the Montrals there.
I was like, yep, that's animated accurate. That's the same way it is in the animation. So you win.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I think that's like the first time we've seen it live action. I was like, ooh.
Did we get to see Shakti without a headband? I think she was wearing one, right?
Great question.
I'm trying to visualize that. Yeah, so Noah from YouTube says, you guys have talked about Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka to be somewhat emotionless compared to her animated portrayal. It was awesome seeing Ahsoka happy in that last scene with the Purgle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this is her point where maybe like fingers crossed, she's the whole Gandalf reborn, and we're gonna get her 100% more emotionally into this, less dreadful and sad. Which I think was really cool in the flashbacks, is because that kid is super emotive, like super emotional. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want from Ahsoka now. This is great. I love seeing it. So it's interesting. I'm glad to have her turn over a new leaf in this this new cloak she has on. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And it begs the question, what happened in that span of time that we didn't get to see animated or live action when she took on Sabine as an apprentice? What made her the way she is now?
It's just Sabine being trash. She's like, I've been trying for so long.
And it's like Huang would have told her that Sabine isn't that force sensitive back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was she without Hu Yang? And she was like, I'm just failing as a master here because Sabine couldn't get it. I don't know what was the reason why she walked away from Sabine. Maybe we'll find out in the movie. Who knows? But yeah, I actually like Rosario Dawson's portrayal as Ahsoka because she's very tempered. She's very steady. She seems very balanced. I like it. I am maybe kind of like on the outside. I'm an outlier that way, but yeah. Sage West on YouTube writes thoughts on the de-aging in Ahsoka versus Kenobi. Personally, I think Ahsoka was better.
Yes, 100%.
That was a perfect casting for her.
Yeah, I think they figured something out. But it feels like every time we think they figured something out, they kind of
Just
take a couple
randomly it'll be
steps
something
back
new.
on the
Yeah.
next series. It's like, what? But of course, we all know there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with the CGI people, and I think they've unionized, and I think they're either on strike or about to go on strike. I'm not sure. I'm not keeping up with all that, but yeah, it looked good. Everyone in the show looked good. I'm happy with it. I think I'm happy with the storytelling too. I think in the end, whatever Filoni gives us, I think it's the appropriate story. And I don't think he's in his prime yet for directing live action. I think he has a little ways to go, but I think it is suitable for what we're getting from Filoni. And I think he was more left on his own to do this show. I think Favreau was there helping out,
Mhm.
but I think Filoni took the lead more or less on doing and making the choices that he did.
I think my main issues with this episode come from something that I just have to get over. It's that, and this is probably the biggest turning point for the series, is that going forward, like you, for this series especially, is you can't really come in as a new person. Like, you would probably have to understand what has happened in the Clone Wars to get any of what just happened, or what happened in Rebels to get any of what just happened. I didn't think that up until this episode. I saw this episode and was like, dude, almost no one's going to understand if you have not watched Clone Wars or Rebels. And I like it in the fact that Dave Filoni's allowed to do whatever he wants. However, I do feel like a lot of other newer people are going to be left in the dust after this episode.
Yes, I do agree with you, Josh. It's an unfortunate situation in a way. We've heard people say that, no, you don't have to watch Rebels. You'll be fine. You got to watch Rebels or else you're just going to be like, what is going on, man? What are these creatures? It's like, how do the creatures go into hyperspace? Are they androids? What's going on? It's if you saw Rebels, if you see the key episodes that Disney Plus lays out for you to get ready for Ahsoka, you can backtrack and get caught up. If you're watching or listening to us and you're kind of like asking all these questions, like I have too many questions to ask, just go back to Disney Plus. They have a get ready for Ahsoka type thing, and you can watch certain episodes from Clone Wars, Rebels, and get kind of up to speed in a way. But yeah, you if you didn't watch Rebels, you were just lost. You're just like, I'm waiting to get what's happening, and yeah.
See, but I think this gives an opportunity for those people who did not watch Rebels. So for me, look, I watched Dexter, but I didn't jump into Dexter to like season 3. So I didn't know nothing about who this character was. The only reason I jumped in was because of a certain actress that was coming out in the series. But I watched it just because of that one actress. But I fell in love with the show. And I actually went back and started from season 1 to figure out, okay, what's going on, leading up all the way to that season. I mean, if you're a true fan and you like the show, you're going to go back and watch it so you can understand what's going on. You know what I mean?
The only thing I have with that is I know that it is a tougher sell because it's animated. That's the main one. Because I know a lot of people will be like, that's a kiddie show, I'm gone. And immediately just throw it off. And I hope that it brings more people to an animated show and we can all be there. But I know a lot of people of my generation or older generations are just kind of like, I only watch the live action stuff. I'm not going to watch anything animated. So
we see you got a 46-year-old man who watches cartoons. So
like you should.
But yeah,
we're the exception to the rule, Ray. Because I know a lot of people older than me. They're like, I don't watch that stuff.
Yeah,
I just want to see the live action, and I'm more of a fan of the live action because I think to me it's fundamental Star Wars, and it's what I grew up with and dreaming about. Live action stuff, animation's great, but I prefer the live action. I'm more a fan of that than I am. But I know the Rebel story is really, really good. It's solid. That's what Ahsoka is really based on. And if you didn't watch Rebels, you're going to be somewhat lost here. But if you did watch Rebels, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's just a continuation with Ahsoka as the star. And you're not going to have as many questions.
Yeah.
So Noah wants to know, how many bingo slots did y'all have knocked off after this episode?
I haven't actually gone through them, but I feel like we just smacked off tons.
Tons?
Well, more than we had for any other episode.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think we're supposed to be helping y'all, but...
Oh, wait, that's right. Never mind. Shh.
Yeah, this is all on your own type of thing, but I thought we were going to get Morai tonight. I don't think I saw Morai unless that owl was flying in the world between worlds, and you have to have a 4K TV to spot the owl. Or the convoy.
Yeah, they have like her like kind of in the corner of some scenes, and it's like a shadow of a bird, and people are like, it's her. I'm like, okay, whatever, because she can technically teleport and be wherever she wants. I expected her to show up in this episode, and be somewhere in the world between worlds, which
Yeah.
I'm not gonna doubt that she's somewhere in the background of something. So who knows?
Do you think this is the last time we're going to see the world between worlds? Are we going to see it
No.
again before the end of the season?
Ooh, in this season, very good question. I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't think it'll be the last time we'll see the world between worlds, but I don't know about this show. This could be its ending piece for it.
I kind of feel like we are going to revisit the world between worlds in this show. Maybe not this season. It feels so much like we're going to get a season 2 of Ahsoka no matter what the ratings are, what the reaction to this episode is going to be. You can't just introduce Thrawn and not have him back. We all figure he's going to be in the movie, but I mean, I think we're going to get some aspects of Star Wars that we've never gotten before in this show when we travel to this new galaxy. And I think that's what Lucasfilm is leaning on now to have adventures in this new galaxy. So
got a question. Did you guys catch when they mentioned Organa?
Yeah, I was like, is this not a good enough issue for you? This is your dad's apprentice. I mean, like, are you like little Padawan? Is this not good enough of an issue? Calm down.
I think I missed it. What did you say, Ray? You said Organa?
Organa. Remember when they said the fleet's coming and
no.
They mentioned
they get mad.
Yeah.
They mentioned what?
Organa. I thought they mentioned Leia.
They did.
You didn't catch it?
Okay.
The first transmission they did, yeah.
Yeah. So which was pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I was like, oh man, it's nice. So it kind of there's so much opening right now. That's this is just me, the thoughts running through my head right now. Just of course, mentioning her. We've got the movie that we're gonna lead into, after this. There's so many okay, which direction are they gonna go with? Are we gonna lead to if you guys read the novels, the original novels, like where Janna and Jace, and where Chewbacca died and the big battle. Did y'all read those?
I know the story. I've never
I think we know the broad strokes. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what if we get a new alien creature that's going to be a threat with, jumping into the galaxy, and we're going to get that kind of story.
Force immune.
Yeah.
Please.
You know what I mean? What if we're going to get something like that, but more modern?
Maybe.
It's going to be interesting, man.
Yeah, there's a certain, I believe, force immunity things on the bingo card. So yeah, that's a possibility. So I wanted to go back to Evan's comment right here. Do you guys think Ahsoka's eyes turned Sith yellow during the end of her Anakin fight?
I don't know. I need to look back at it again because I didn't know if it was the red lightsaber or not.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it unignites, then it goes back to being the right color. So I was kind of like,
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. I was like, oh, did her eyes got kind of Sithy? I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it up close in 4K. I watched it on my computer monitor, which is
because I don't know if it's kind of like a metaphor-ish one where it was like red lightsaber in my eyes reflecting. You can see that she's very angry and she sounds angry, but as soon as she clicks, then the lightsaber isn't red anymore and her eyes go back to normal. So I was like, I don't know.
Sage on YouTube says, do you think we will see a young Leia? They mentioned her, and maybe we will confront Hera?
That would be crazy.
That'd be a lot of money. Unless they just shoot her from the back and never show her face. And then we get the re-speecher technology, which I don't think is a lot of money. Maybe they shoot it artistically.
Well, I mean, there's people who can, kind of what they did with Ghostbusters, where they use that one person and they just kind of put Egon's face on that guy.
Spoilers for Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, that they can go that route. I mean, that was pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bring in Millie Bobby Brown.
Yep.
Noah says at this point, though, would Leia know that Ahsoka was Anakin's Padawan? That's an interesting question.
I would assume so because Luke knows. So I'm
Yeah, it's
assuming they
true.
would have talked back and forth.
Yeah. And they can probably force talk to each other.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, the dyad.
The
Cringe.
infamous dyad.
Yeah, I think yes. I don't know why Luke wouldn't say anything. Because in the novels, we know that they are in communication back and forth with each other at this point. So it would be pretty funny if they just came up with conversation. Luke's like, "Hey, oh, by the way, our dad's apprentice, or like our dad's Padawan came through and said hi."
Yeah,
Dropped off
I
a
think
little
Evan
green
right
bag.
here on YouTube is correct on this. Darth Vader's been dead for like 4 years during this timeline. Yeah, I think that's about accurate. Not
So
too
I'm
sure
just,
on the years,
so I'm
but
just
yeah,
throwing,
because you think about the Mando timeline,
Yeah.
and this takes place a little bit after. I think it's between seasons 2 and 3 of
Yep.
Mando.
Yep.
This Facebook user says, "I want to see Anakin saber switch colors from blue to red, kind of like a one of those sabers you can buy online, Ultra Saber. Then it turns rainbow."
He's so
Yeah.
funny.
So just throwing this out there, because there's a gap. So we got a gap after Return of the Jedi right now from where we're at currently to the current movies, right?
Right, the sequel trilogy.
In the novels, Luke helps Leia build a lightsaber. What if we see, not to say a young, I mean, well, because what age would Leia be after 4 years after Return of the Jedi? Still kind of in their late 20s?
Yeah,
So what if we were to see a
She'd
younger
be like
Leia,
22.
that young?
Because Luke's like 18.
I think they're 19
Oh,
in A
sorry.
New Hope,
19, New Hope.
and then it's like a year or two between that and Empire, and then it's like
20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, like 25.
So they're about 25,
yeah, 25-ish.
It looks so young.
Well, okay, let's just say in the novel wise, what if we get that? What if we see Luke and Leia later down the line, leading up to that, and we see, because of course we know she uses the Force because we saw it in
Right.
Rise of Skywalker and stuff like that.
She's powerful, yeah.
Yeah. So what if we see her, because technically she was training Rey as well, right? Leia?
Yes.
So, well, because remember when they were in the forest?
Yeah.
So what if we see a younger Leia with her lightsaber? Because we didn't see it in the movie, but we get to see her use a lightsaber. We get to see her use a Force. What if we get that? I think that would be cool.
That'd be really cool. And now I want it, Ray. And now when it doesn't happen, I'm gonna blame you, Ray.
Hey, like I said, there's so much opportunity right now that they could fill within that gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I love about Star Wars. There's so many possibilities, and there's so many wants that the fans have that we might never get. But there is stuff that we do get that we finally got to see tonight. But it's such a little sample size of it, though. It's such a little sample size.
But okay, hold up. I'm gonna bring this up, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because like I said, I'm just a nerd. I like Star Wars. I like Star Trek. I like Stargate. I like everything. Battlestar Galactica. Everything. The current Star Trek. Okay, yes, we have Captain Kirk. You know what I mean? That was Picard. I mean, Picard. That was the original Kirk. We're getting introduced to a younger Kirk in Star Trek World Between Worlds, or the Worlds. I forgot the actual title.
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
So we're getting new characters who are playing those characters in younger versions.
Right.
What if we get that here?
Yeah,
get the younger Leia.
Sebastian. Yeah, Sebastian Stan is young Luke. We never got it. I think Sebastian Stan's aging out.
He could portray it perfectly right now with the way he is right now, where he's at right now. If Filoni were to go that route.
Someone just type Shatner and
Shatner. Like I said, my mind's running 100 things a minute right now, trying to process what I just watched and what I want to see. The possibilities. I mean,
the pitfalls and the possibilities.
Yeah, there's so much they can do. I mean, don't get me wrong, the current Star Trek stuff is cool, especially what they're doing, the special effects. I think if they can do that with Star Wars right now and give us a young Leia, a young Luke, and lead us up into those current movies, and then maybe an older Jason down the line, that would be cool.
I think we're definitely getting older Jason down the line, and I think he's going to be a Jedi type. I think he's going to have a saber. I think he's going to be a future main character for something.
Yeah.
Noah on YouTube says, if they were to do this, what Legends character would y'all like to see link up with Thrawn and come back to the main galaxy? Personally, I love to see Mara Jade or Darth Talon. So George Lucas, the maker, wanted Darth Talon to be a villain in a live-action film. So that's approved by Darth Talon. Mara Jade, not so much. Lucas didn't like the concept of Mara Jade. So I don't know how much Filoni is going to be like, hey, George, he's going to call him up on the phone. Hey, you know that character you really didn't like? Well, we're going to bring in that character. And that's going to be Luke's love interest. Click. So I don't know.
Like I said, man, it leaves so much. There's so much what ifs right now that can go either way. It's going to be interesting. So
Maka, our awesome patron, says, kind of wish we got an action.
That's something I had said last week, and I was like, how cool would it be to have them do that? Would be interesting.
I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
It's more work for them to do on the show, but then you think, well, maybe they didn't do it because that actress had future plans for her to do more. And it's like, well, why replace the voice if you can just use that actress's voice and just use whatever's on set and ADR it and make it all kind of match? I don't know. The Legacy of Nerd says, finished the episode late, but I feel like that Anakin part was too smart for me. Lots of laughs. I just did a reaction. I watched the episode with Count Density Geekcast with Ted, and we live reacted to it. And to me, when I saw the Anakin part kind of fleshed out, we got to see the entire episode together. It really felt like to me like that really wasn't Anakin. That was just the Force manifesting the memories from Ahsoka that she had to kind of help her with the whole lesson thing. No?
However,
okay.
The only thing is that when they are in there and he like goes over, he's like, I don't remember this. I wasn't here. That's when I was like, interesting. It's not just a memory. It has
so you're saying that was Anakin essentially back from the grave, essentially? Or do you think it's just the Force is like all time and space and it's just his manifestation? So you're saying that was literal Anakin?
I think it was literally Anakin, but I feel like it is the manifestation of the Force through Anakin. It's not like 100% him, but it's definitely a part of him because he doesn't remember being there. But when at the beginning he's asking like, "Do you know what happened to you?" And then she's like, "No." And then he's like, "Oh well." This isn't going to go well. And then she's like, oh, no, Valen. He's like, oh, cool, great, awesome. So I'm like, it's interesting. I'm wondering what it's going to be.
So devil's advocate to that is, well, maybe, I mean, if she's manifesting it via the Force, she already knows that information. So that's why those words were spoken by Anakin. But I don't know. I mean, I would like for that to be Anakin. I mean, that would be cool. I mean, either way, I mean, I'm glad we got what we got, and Hayden's back, and I guess there's a possibility to see him again, but it almost feels like that was it. You know, I don't think they're going to utilize him that way again. But it just proves that he's young enough to do live action Clone Wars stuff. That's all that proves right there. It's like make a TV show. Sage West says, do you think that it's of Hayden, or do you think we will get more? I would love to see Force Ghost Anakin at the end smile talk to Ahsoka like it could.
That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is also what I'm expecting is him to show up in Force Ghost form.
Show up as Ghost Force Ghost Force form, sit on a log. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ratings. I know I said I had to watch it again, but rethinking through it, what do you guys rate it?
An 8, solid 8 from me.
Retro
I'm
Ray?
still at 10.
You're still at 10.
Yeah. Because, like I said, I'm going to go back and watch it as soon as we're done. I feel there was a lot of little things. It was just so much to take in, like the battle, like seeing her fight the Mandalorians and pull the moves that she was doing and all that. I got caught up in that, and I didn't pay attention to what was going around because I was just focused on that. And yes, it was kind of like a haze that she was in, when they were battling and stuff like that. I just want to go back and watch more, but overall, from my, rating, I say a 10 because it hit on so many different levels. One biggest thing for me was Jason, and this is just me. Like I said, it's just my opinion, but I just feel like Jason's going to be a big, somewhat part leading forward in the future show or movies.
He's too talented. Too talented. I think he really resonated, that character. Noah on YouTube says, do y'all think Hera heard the lightsabers clashing amidst the waves like Jason was trying to get her to? It almost seems like she did. Yeah, it seemed like she did. And Josh spoke to this before the podcast that might be a point of contention there, that is Hera force sensitive too? It's like, what's going on?
We've established that everyone can use the force.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm like, okay. But I just know that this could turn into more than I think it is ever going to turn into. Hera with lightsaber. Hera with training. I'm like, no, please just keep her a pilot. I don't want, I feel like good pilots are always force sensitive. The ones that have made it for a long time as pilots have always shown some form of force sensitivity to be able to navigate.
I agree.
I agree with that.
Yep. They did really make it seem like Hera heard the sabers and was like, okay, I heard them. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Like I said, I believe I think, like, they mentioned, like, everybody does have it in us. We just have to focus and listen. Which, because you think about it, there was other Jedi who were from the same species.
This Facebook user, Hera's more connected to the Force than Sabine is.
Oh man, that's messed up. Oh,
that might be true, man. That might be true. Okay, here's an interesting question. How do y'all think Jason is in relation to Rey? Could we see him link up with her in her upcoming project?
That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm saying is going to happen.
Let's do the math. Carry the one.
He'll be about in his 30s, I would estimate. Because, okay, he looks, 11, 12 right here?
And then we have, like the exact look of Kanan, just like green hair.
Yeah. That would be interesting there. So yeah, Sage on YouTube says maybe a Force Ghost Kanan at the end.
Oh, that would be cool.
I don't know about that because
do we get the World Between Worlds? But Jason gets to go in and see his dad.
No. What about this?
No.
What if we see Jason tell Ahsoka basically train his son and to take care of him, like towards the end? That would be cool. Pretty crazy.
That means something has to happen with Sabine. So I know everyone's mad about whole Sabine thing right now, but something has to happen with her, please.
So Freddie Prinze is a liar. He's coming back at the end of the show, World Between Worlds. Talks to Ahsoka. Hey, train my boy.
Hey, it could happen. You never know. Hey, other crazy things have happened before.
So this Facebook user says link up or link up. Probably both. I don't know. We got to keep the kids rolling in. We got to keep the super force sensitive kids.
Yes.
Yeah,
More of
I
them,
approve.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a staple of humanity, and it should be a staple of Star Wars, and it is. I mean, there's twins. I mean, we're gonna get triplets at some point. Are there triplets in Star Wars? Anyone in chat? We haven't hit that line yet, but yeah. So, guys, I think we're all in agreement. We have to rewatch this episode because there's so much in it. There were so many expectations for it. I don't think we quite got exactly kind of what we were expecting, so to speak. I know with the Purgles, we saw a lot of CGI, a lot of money on the screen,
Oh yeah.
but
That would
yeah.
be cool. That the Ezra training him. That'd be cool.
Ed Palmer on YouTube says, "I feel the story could lead to Ezra coming full circle to then train Jason."
Oh, that's a possibility too. Didn't think about it. I didn't even think about that. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
That'd be really
that's a
cool.
possibility. I wonder how good that actor's acting is. Iman as Friendy, I believe his name is.
Yeah,
But
I'd
it
love
almost
to see how much he's going to actually be in the show. Like,
yeah.
Besides his few milliseconds of hologram man.
Yeah. You're like a sister to me. Then click. Yeah.
So now, what if this me throwing another wrench into the thing? What if Ezra has gone to the dark side, and then not say either Jason or Sabine has to fight him?
Yeah, that's something that we've been talking about. What we're interested in. I'm very interested to see where that goes. I feel like we're gonna get a whole reveal for it, where it's like, "Hey, you should join me," and da 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 da. Because Thrawn's convinced me that like what's coming is far worse.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone around her is saying like the same thing. Like Balin's gonna say the same thing as well. So I'm wondering, are we gonna get something like that? Are we gonna get a fun ending like that? So
Are we going to get a new set of Ren? What was it? Night of Ren?
yeah, Knights of
there's
Ren.
some theories out there that Balin is somehow connected to the Knights of Ren. Maybe he starts the cult. Or maybe he
We
is
know who
the
starts
leader.
it in the comic.
Right. He has he almost looks like a Cobra Commander type of figure with
Yeah, he
like
does.
the mirror shielded helmet.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know.
good question.
So next episode, guys, what are you anticipating? Are we getting Thrawn, or are we getting some other weird world?
Weird world.
Does Ahsoka decide to take a walk inside the Purgle there?
I'm wondering, do you think it's going to be like an episode where we see Mon Mothma again, and they're going to have a whole conversation about what's going on? Or do you think we're done with this? You think we're going to only be in the next galaxy?
I think a cut between the two. Because Hera's going to have to explain what happened, why she disobeyed the orders. So I have a feeling.
It really kind of felt like to me that we're done with Hera and Jason. Like Mary Elizabeth Winstead and the actor that plays Jason, they're done with the show almost. And they just shot the ending maybe. And then it's just all Rosario Dawson and David Tennant now with Hu Yang. And whatever else appears now. And then we maybe intercut between them, Morgan Elsbeth, Balin, Shen, Sabine stuff. Sabine in captivity.
True, that's a possibility too.
Yeah. We have no idea, Facebook user. Will the next episode focus solely on one galaxy, or will it bounce across both?
I think it's going to bounce across both because she says, "Let's see where they take us." Knowing kind of like she wasn't 100% sure where the Wells were going to take them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think we're going to get it'll pop up kind of like I'm trying to kind of give a deep kind of that relates to it. Kind of like sliders. They go to one part, they're there for so long, and then they jump to the next time frame, whatever. I think that's what we're going to get with the whales. David's thinking.
Yeah. So this Facebook user asked, "Where's the next waypoint stop on the map?" So it wasn't a straight line to Peridia. I thought it was a straight line. I thought they just showed the random planets that are like scattered across the galaxy, the known galaxy. I don't know.
I have to look that up now.
So I think something that people are forgetting maybe is the amount of time that Ezra and Thrawn have been out there. What do you think can possibly happen? I mean, we know that Thrawn and Ezra are alive. I mean, I think that's for sure. There's 99% surety that Ezra and Thrawn are alive out there. But so what do you think they've been doing out there?
That's interesting.
I mean, is there maybe they've established some things out there? I don't know.
It reminds me a lot of Halo, how one of the characters is stuck with the villain for years, and it basically corrupts them. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a whole thing where they have been together, conversating for a year, like, well, not years, but a very long time, to a point where they see each other as mutuals. I'm very curious. Because this is like Thrawn's first defeat. So I feel like Thrawn must respect and want to analyze all that he can about Ezra.
True.
Yeah, Ezra somehow becomes sympathetic towards Thrawn and his whole mission for his alien race.
They haven't explained that, though, in this canon yet, from what I believe. Is that, like, we know Thrawn as someone who's trying to protect his people, but I don't believe they explained it in actual canon as of yet.
Right. There's a possibility that aspect of Thrawn doesn't exist in live action, which will totally color the character differently.
Yes, and I don't know if that's a good idea.
Right. Because in the books, Thrawn is essentially trying to figure out how his race can kind of take over the galaxy, and he joined the Empire not to really have the Empire win the battle, win the war, but to kind of learn who the future opponent and the actual like top dog of the galaxy is, and learn how to beat them, essentially, for his race to come in and have the advantage, essentially. That's the way I understand it. What were you gonna say, Ray?
I was just gonna say one thing, that flaw that Ezra had, he was very too trustworthy with people.
Yeah, that's true. He's the most like gullible guy.
Yeah, so he trusted Hondo, he trusted who's the other characters? But I think he kind of sees the good in people to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Even though they are kind of bad to an extent as well.
That's why it did interest me that they didn't show him in this episode. I kind of would have loved to see like Ahsoka talk to him in the World Between Worlds, or have him like not even speak, but just point to where he is.
True.
Like through the stars. I was like, would have been great, but it is what it is. Because I believe he's the first character we've ever seen even go through the World Between Worlds. So it would have been cool, like a fun callback to have him be there.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if that's what he's been doing, is in the World Between Worlds communicating with past and present and future Jedi, doing something much more spiritual on his side.
So he's essentially like one of the most powerful, most learned Jedis of all time when we get to him.
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
That would be crazy if he gets more.
It's like gets Dr. Manhattan. Like all of his personality is completely gone.
And then, I mean, with all the Jedi teachings, he would have to let go of attachments and not be able to be with Sabine.
Oh, don't worry. She got friend zoned hard, so I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's true too. They're like my sister.
I didn't think the relationship was like that. That made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't see any of Sabine this episode. We saw her helmet.
And it got me thinking though, because it showed the camera showed Ahsoka pan to her helmet and just like look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was wondering what she was thinking or what was going through her mind when she was looking at the helmet. You know what I mean? Because she focused on it for quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
That was an interesting camera shot. I did notice that too. So Noah on YouTube, I was just thinking about this at the beginning of this post show. Where would y'all rank this episode among all the live action Star Wars shows that Disney has made? It wasn't quite as epic as the Mando episode, The Jedi, but man, was it wizard. So Ray, I want to ask Retro Ray here what he thinks because he gave it a 10, which is like a perfect episode. But we have all these other Disney Plus episodes of The Mandalorian and that last episode of Obi-Wan, maybe some certain Andor episodes. Is it better than all of those, or does it fall?
It's up there with Luke and Mandalorian.
Okay.
To me,
that is so hard to top. That episode is insanely hard to top. It's funny.
to me, I just, the only reason why I say that is because being such a big Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels fan,
yeah,
that's why for me I give it a 10, just because how much of a fan I was with that. And the same thing with Mandalorian when we saw Luke, seeing the X-wing, seeing the the cloak, we don't know who it is. That was even more. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like the newer generation's version of Luke is Ahsoka, and then this is the kind of episode that brings everything like a full circle?
I do. If you're a certain age, if you're the younger generation, you're freaking out right now. You're like, oh my gosh, my childhood was on screen in live action.
I think that's
I want to hear Colin's thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, dude. I was like, Colin's losing it. He
yeah,
been in the movie theater
probably
screaming.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. I mean, you have different, everybody. It's like people who have a book club. Everybody takes the book, read the same book, but everybody takes what they read and interpret it differently, even though it's the same damn book everybody read. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty much what we got here is that it's going to affect everyone differently, and they're going to take it in differently. And depending, like if you're a hardcore Star Wars, Clone Wars, or, like you said, you got that percentage who don't watch cartoons. So, me was being a Star Wars fan and looking for stuff to read, and because we all wanted the world to continue, we just never got live action. So to me, if you really liked it that much and liked, to me, reading the books and the comics and all that takes you away. Now, mind you, to retain a lot of the stuff, I can't remember everything, but there's like certain parts of the stuff I read that stay in my head. And like I said, because there's so much to read if you've read the comics, the novels. But like there's certain parts of the novels that stay in my head. Like if you read Bloodline of Star Wars, where Boba Fett is training Han's daughter to fight her brother, you know what I mean? And it's so weird when you're reading that novel to see, you're like, holy crap, Boba Fett is helping Han Solo's daughter. He's training her to fight her own brother. You know what I mean? Which was crazy. But it's kind of like that aspect where if you were a fan, you were just trying to find anything you can to read to fill that void, since we didn't have Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Right. I would still put, to answer Noah's question on YouTube, I put the Luke episode, the introduction of Luke at the end of Mando season 2, up at the top for me. It's hard to say because, like I said, I got to watch it again and really get the feel of it. But as of right now, yeah, the Luke episode when he shows up unexpectedly, and then maybe episode 1 of that season 2 felt like a mini movie with the Crate Dragon and the Sand People and Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, I don't think it's in my top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, same, Josh. I don't think it's in my top 3, but I mean, it's kind of crazy to say that as well because it's like we got so many things tonight that we asked for and we got them. And
Mm-hmm.
Rex in live action, the red sabered Anakin, Clone Wars armor Anakin, Anakin period. I mean, young Ahsoka, um, Clone Wars flashback.
Yeah, I
See,
don't think I've ever been as crazy fanatical as people
Mhm.
are for the prequels, as I know a lot of people are. So maybe they might get that kind of reaction out of it. But for me, I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, this is in its own contained space, and they're talking about it. I didn't feel as if it has, like, it's. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? And it's like that kind of feel. Whereas when Luke comes in, this is physically happening, and all these characters are reacting to him actually doing something. Whereas I feel like the stakes for Ahsoka in this, as I think someone commented before, like I feel like it's just that Bart was too smart for me. Like,
Mm.
what does it all mean? Like, I understand Luke
Right.
coming to Yoda, like Baby Yoda, and grabbing him. Like, I get that, but this I was kind of like, I like it. I love it a lot. I'm looking at all these things, going, wow, we got actually this and this, and this is what I wanted. But is it exactly what I wanted if it's just not really affecting anything?
Yeah, it was very, very inside Filoniverse type stuff. Um, this Facebook user writes, I feel like either in the next episode or the penultimate episode, we should see something regarding that question mark Ona planet, or it will be Balin and Shinhati based episode. Um, so yeah, the question mark Ona planet. If you guys aren't familiar, or the listeners or the viewers, someone decoded all of the names of all the planets in the end title or the end credit sequence, and there's a planet there that they couldn't figure out the beginning character for that planet. So there's a question mark for that letter, but the rest of the letters are Ona. So that's what that means. Possibly. It might just be coincidence that no one can code break that last character for the name of that planet. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but a Balin episode. I mean, we still could get flashbacks of young Balin in the Clone Wars along with Hayden Christensen again. That might be a thing as well. We might get Hayden back. We don't know. There's no on the next episode of Ahsoka or anything like that, like we got in the 90s and early 2000s. And I don't think they're going to drop any more clips online. Hopefully they do. That'd be cool if we saw something crazy tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but the day of the episode, so next Tuesday.
so question: what if the people who got to see it in theaters got to see something we didn't see?
I think Craig would have told me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in direct communication with him. He's like, I
Well,
can't
we were
be on the
saying,
podcast right now because I got to drive all the way home now.
yeah, because I was just to say, what if we were, because we told him no spoilers, so I was just thinking maybe he didn't tell us.
Yeah. Man, I would have been so jealous if that would have happened. And it would have ended up on like YouTube or something anyway. So
Yeah, like I said, it's just, man, there's just so much to take in right now. And like I said, that's something I really want to do is go back and look at it and get more details of everything in the background and seeing the actress they got to portray young Ahsoka did a great job.
yeah, she was fantastic. She's a pro, going all the way back to Infinity War as young Gamora.
Yeah.
And this Facebook user says, if you look at that map, you see mentions so far from every planet that the line intersects on that map. So I think what this person is saying is every planet that we've seen. I mean, we see Duros, we see Mandalore, we see Coruscant. I think that's what he's referring to. Those are known planets to us, and this one planet we don't know. Although there's a planet named Odin, Odyn, in the end credits there. I don't think it's ever been mentioned in Star Wars before. So I think Anna says it's an O. I think there's our answer.
I did just kind of just popped in my head, but we know Filoni's a big Lord of the Rings fan, and the whole maps on Lord of the Rings, the big map. What if this is his way of giving us that, but in Star Wars form of the planets?
Yeah, I think it is his way. I definitely think I've studied that map a lot. And the Facebook user says the line doesn't intersect with Odin. Yeah, we got to do a lot more map study on this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because it's going by so fast, and unless you take photos and pictures and then try to put it back together like a puzzle,
Yeah.
if they gave it to us in a format where we can full page kind of thing, maybe we can try to decode it. Oh, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Somebody took pictures, right? Put it together.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I'm trying to see where that question mark was at.
Arcana, Agamar. Agamar is very Lord of the Rings sounding. Dathomir, Yavin. There's Odin. And there's the Ona planet. Peridia, where they're all trying to head to. Cetos, the red-leafed forested planet. The Carillion Run, Duro. Pisana is on there. Ketu Nemoidia. Corellia, Mandalore, Lothal.
So if this is just my theory, but if you see it where it leads up to the one with the question mark, because where the bottom corner where it has Andrew, I think is where they're taking from, right? So do you think the next episode is going to be that little curve there, and then the next one's there, and the third episode is going to be the question mark one? They look like moons, but what if they're actual planets?
Right. Or, I mean, they still could be moons, and you can still land on the moon,
I mean, yeah, that too. But what if that's what we're going to get? Like, first episode, next episode is going to be the first one. Then the following episode's that one. And then the ending episode is going to be where they get to the very end.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I think that is definitely plausible.
That would be crazy. And then once they're on those planets, what if we get introduced to new aliens?
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I'm still hoping for something that cannot be affected by the Force. Because Thrawn used to use that lizard on his side that can't be affected by the Force. So now I'm like in the EU. But I'm wondering what they'll do. They'll show anything. Because we know that there is creatures that aren't affected by the Force in canon. And they don't know where they come from. And it's in the High Republic era. So I'm wondering if they'll do anything with it. But I'm really excited to see this new galaxy.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all are. Hopefully they come up with something great. No on YouTube. Go ahead, Josh.
I was wondering if this is going to be this new start of where we're going to take Star Wars into there could be like a completely different galaxy.
That's a great way to kind of almost like a soft reboot of Star Wars right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a great jumping off point for more creators to get involved. So Noah from YouTube, he says, do y'all think it's possible we see a flashback where Thrawn and Anakin interact with each other? Thrawn has met both Vader and Anakin in canon. Yeah, I think there's more of a possibility than not, because, I mean, you got Hayden Christensen right there. You're going to have Thrawn. We all know they got the Vader suit now, so it's all at their disposal.
And what are they're gonna show the Batu battle scene that they have in Oga's Cantina?
Finally, yeah. I was gonna say that Galaxy's Edge finally on screen, yeah.
So question: that scene that we saw Thrawn where he's walking and he's wearing a white suit, we have not seen that yet. So what if that part of that trailer or whatever is him actually talking either to Anakin or Vader?
That is a good theory. I think that shot, and I got to give kudos to my buddy Carl. He's the one that told me about it first. I think he said that what you see of Thrawn in the white Imperial Grand Admiral suit, that has to be a flashback, because he can't be wearing the same suit now. There's a lot of time has passed. You figure he got rid of that suit, and he's not for the Empire. He's not in Imperial-owned space, so he probably detests the Empire too. So it's like, why would he wear it? So that could very well be a flashback of Thrawn walking up on Vader in the Vader suit. So that is definitely a possibility. And Anna here on YouTube says Ahsoka in a new outfit. It's white. I see merch coming. I see tons of merch coming. And this Facebook user says, can't be affected by the Force like Watto.
That's true.
So this would be cool. Ed on YouTube says, okay, a crazy theory. Ezra is hanging out with a race of Yodas and Grogu's race in the other galaxy. Finally answer that question. Wow.
Dude, that...
A whole planet full of Yoda's race?
Yeah, because we never... Have they ever said where Yoda comes from?
No. They haven't named the race. They haven't named the planet. What if most of those species are just like jerks?
Oh man.
What if they're like nothing like Yoda or Grogu? And the Yoda and Grogu are just, and Yaddle are just like outliers. You're on mute, Josh.
I still think that I think that their race is like the light side version of where Dathomir was like the dark side version.
Okay.
Wherever their light side version is, who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely...
Yeah.
Well, like I said, now we have to wait another week.
Yeah, the waiting is not great, but yeah. But yeah, I mean we're halfway done, more than halfway done with Ahsoka now. 3 episodes left. We get a Rick Famuyiwa episode, the very last episode. That'll close it out, and it's a lot of fun getting live action Star Wars TV that we've never seen before. Anna says here on YouTube, I'm kind of upset at Mon Mothma. She did nothing to help. Unfortunately, there's the history of the rebels having to work alone against the orders. So yeah, I don't like that aspect either.
It's so funny how like they have worked so hard to make sure that everyone knows that these new rebels like thing is just trash. It's so funny. I'm like, okay, all right.
I really find it annoying how useless they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like all this messed up stuff's happening, but yet, we have to vote and we have to make sure this, whatever. It just annoys me that they can't see what's right in front of them.
Yeah. I mean, history tells us that these types of governments and bureaucracies get in the way there, and it's...
I don't know. It's kind of like, if you think about it, this battle was like galaxy wide versus now where we just have individual planets have like some have something on it. So it's kind of just a whole bunch of people doing absolutely nothing in comparison to like imagine, it's like a giant war where everyone is going to war. This is like full on everything, everyone's fighting to nothing. Like, and I guess they just become lazy and bored, and it's like, I really do nothing all day. Like, and I see how it's kind of very easy for the seeds of destruction to start brewing within all of the new order. So, and then like First Order is just creeping in through all the different places, and you're like, it's going to be a piece of cake for them to come back in and just slam everyone. So,
yeah. And here we have a student of history here, Ed Palmer on YouTube. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yep.
I agree with that.
The case. And Austin on YouTube says, I was so happy for the young Annie and Ahsoka talking about the Clone Wars and the Siege. It was great. Give Filoni Star Wars control. I think he has control.
To an extent.
Yes, to an extent. To a certain point, he has full control. And then when Kathleen Kennedy does not like it, she's like, no, we can't do that. I like that Kathleen Kennedy, her producer mind probably comes into play there more so than anything else. And
I wonder what a project with him being able to do whatever he wants without someone being like, no, you can't do that. What that looks like. That's what I want to know.
I think it's essentially Ahsoka, but with budget constraints, because it's a TV show. When he has the film, I think he can put more of what his vision is on screen. So I think it's that.
What kind of budget do you think you'll get for the movie?
$1 trillion. I don't know. I think he'll get like one of the highest budgets for the films if the other shows end up doing pretty well.
I mean, at the point where we actually end all these strikes and get them on set and figure out the whole budget thing, I think it could be like upwards of 250. I mean, but I mean, at this point in the Disney reality timeline, they're trying to save money right now, so it's kind of hard to be like, "Oh, I get a $300 million budget for Filoni's movie." So, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say right now. Clouded the future is. This Facebook user says it's like dealing with a whole bunch of middle managers.
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
It's always the fat cat sitting on top, telling the little people what to do.
Yeah, and Noah from YouTube says Filoni is Leia, Kathleen Kennedy is Mon Mothma. We all want Leia to rule, but we're stuck with the Mothma running the show.
That's so true.
Yeah, and Austin on YouTube says it's odd they didn't show Tamir Morrison, but I guess due to what that whole shebang about the BOB drama, it makes sense. Just sucks not getting Rex taking his helmet off. Yeah. As soon as we saw those clones, I was like, "Yep, Tamir Morrison's gonna walk across the screen," and it didn't happen. Got his voice.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting too. I was expecting him to take his helmet like in Clone Wars, where he takes it off and puts it on his side. That's
I was expecting that. Yeah, I was totally expecting that.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that's the show. Unless you guys got anything else you want to mention before we go, and we'll see everyone next episode. And before we go, if you don't know, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe, like the video, and thank you so much. Hit the bell notify icon. We're also on Instagram at Star Wars Stuff Podcast. We're also on X at Stuff Pod. We're on Threads, Star Wars Stuff Podcast. You can write all your threads to Josh there. We're on Patreon at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. We're also on TikTok. You can email the show at starstuffpodcast@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group and a page. Write us a review. We've been getting a ton of reviews on Apple, getting a lot of stars on Apple and Spotify. That helps the show tremendously. We have a website. You can check out some articles that we've written at StarWarsStuffPodcast.com. And that is the post-show with spoilers for Ahsoka Part 5, Shadow Warrior.
Also, go ahead.
Go for it.
No, I was just going to say, for people who are fans of Galactic Empire and you live in Texas, they're going on concert. They're going on tour. They're going to be in Houston and Dallas. So I'm working
in
on
Austin too, right?
In Austin too. And Austin next week and Houston. I am trying to get these guys on the show. So if you guys talk about us, hopefully we can get them to come on the show.
Do you think these guys will wear their costumes if we get
Hey,
them?
it would be cool, man.
Are they like
cool.
Kiss and like Slipknot?
Like I said, it'd be cool. We can get them on and talk about, the music they do. If you haven't listened to them, go look them up.
Oh, look, Austin on YouTube says I saw them live in California. Super good show. Love them. Cool. Yeah, I listen to their music. It's on my like normal rotation to hear like the rock versions. I forgot the name of the genre already. What is the name of the genre, Ray? It's not really rock. It's
like kind of like between 80s ish hair metal band kind of to a certain extent.
I wouldn't classify it as hair metal.
Extent. Not hair metal, but
yeah,
it's rock, but it's hard to describe it into words, I guess, what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, you just got to check them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, Galactic Empire, if you have Apple Music, their albums are on there, so, and probably Spotify as well. So all right, guys, for Josh, Retro Ray, my name's David. May the force be with you
always.